Normal people become terrified of criminals.
Shots were just fired. Police just came out and told us, and we're headed there right now.
They become terrified of their own government.
Military.com says dozens of troops suspected of advocating overthrow of U.S. government. Pentagon extremism report says. What they're likely saying is that they found 183 people who posted things like "Get woke, go broke" and "I don't want to serve a woke military." But let's read what they actually say.
There's that dude that got booted because he was a communist too a couple years back.
Oh yeah, remember that he had the hat and said "Communism will win." An annual Pentagon report on extremism within the ranks reveals that 78 service members were suspected of advocating for the overthrow of the U.S. government, and another 44 were suspected of engaging or supporting terrorism. The report released Thursday by the Defense Department Inspector General revealed that in fiscal 2023, there were 183 allegations of extremism across all branches of military, broken down not only into efforts to overthrow the government and terrorism, but also advocating for widespread discrimination or violence to achieve political goals. Widespread discrimination? That sounds like some guy might be like, go broke. I'm like, there you go. He advocating for discrimination because only their rules apply.
And he emailed like 4 people, so it was widespread.
Yep.
He contacted enough 10 or 11 people.
There's 103 allegations, or what? There's dozens.
183.
There's dozens of people they've identified. So how many Fed plants did it take to find them faking like they were going to set up a coup, right? That's what happened in Michigan.
If there's 183 allegations and they found 78 service members, then, you do the math.
A few hundred.
105 that are feds?
It's got to be.
So the allegation's like, well, yeah, but that's not a real one because that guy was a Fed. He was just goading people into saying these things.
Fedception, because technically people in the military are already Feds.
And he's overthrowing the government.
Agents inside the federal agency.
But advocating for the overthrow of the government, is that just, what counts as that? Is it saying that Trump actually won in 2020?
It could be an FBI agent emailing a dude like, "Hey, want to overthrow?" And then the guy's like, just puts a thumbs up emoji on the question. Like it could be that, and it'll be he agreed.
It's probably even more innocuous than that. It's like 3 dudes are sitting in a room playing Call of Duty, and then the Fed just goes, it'd be cool if like Trump actually got rid of Biden, right? And like, yeah, sure, whatever, dude.
Or they say nothing.
That's it. We got him.
They didn't say no. They just don't even respond to it. And he's like, well, they didn't say no to it,
sure,
so that's
whatever,
agreement. Dude, I'm thinking of the business plot. Smedley Butler, 500,000 troops about to march on Washington, D.C. Like, they're talking about 50, 70 guys. Are you kidding me?
No, I think the bigger story here is not that there's extremists who want to overthrow the government. It's that the U.S. military is basically weeding out anybody who believes in this country. And so what I see as being more likely here is the troops they're accusing of sedition or whatever, or of, they're essentially accusing people of sedition, are probably like regular Americans who are like, hey, man, we got serious problems with corruption. Donald Trump tried to withdraw troops from Syria and they blocked him.
Yeah, Joe Biden's son's on an energy board in Ukraine where we have troops. What the hell's going on?
And if you say things like that, they're going to get mad about it. They're going to call you an extremist. They're going to look what military.com they posted was this Patriot Front. They posted a photo of Patriot Front to refer to these U.S. troops. Now, look, don't get me wrong. Some of these guys might be communists too. Like Phil brought up, there was that one viral story about the guy. What was it? He went to West Point.
Yeah, he was. He would have been as a graduate of West Point, he would have been an officer, and he had a shirt that said "Communism will win" or not.
It was in his hat or something. Yeah,
it was in his hat, and then he held his hat to the camera.
Yeah, he held his hat and he did the fist up, and So he's still on Twitter. He's very low key and stuff, but I follow him.
But they discharged him?
Yeah, he got booted.
Wow.
So.
I see what's going on and in the U.S. with the woke left, and I just think there's like a 70% overlap with Nazis and the left. I mean, the hatred of Jews is absurd. The conspiracy theories, the racial segregationist policies, the collectivist action, the use of symbols, it's like almost the same thing.
The whole of the World War II was the left fighting the left, and they drew America in. It was the communists and the Nazis fighting, they're both statist, both collectivist, and the United States is based on liberal principles which put the individual first. And they drug us into their BS European garbage war.
They got FDR to go fascist. He got rid of the gold standard. He basically made this country super fascist, printed all this money.
There's an argument that, I generally have a negative opinion of FDR, but there is an argument to be made that I've heard people make that is compelling. That is, FDR existed in a time when socialism was socialism and big government was
Ascendant.
It was omnipresent. It was ascendant. It was everywhere. And the policies and the argument that people make pro FDR is that the policies that FDR put into place, the social safety nets, actually prevented the United States from turning into an actual socialist country. They were they were things that obviously liberals and libertarian-minded people don't approve of, but the point wasn't intended to get more power to the government because they wanted to get more power to the government, but it was to prevent the people from turning the United States into a socialist government. Now, I'm not sure that the argument is compelling to me. I'm not sure that I buy it, but I've heard it, and at least it's like, well, okay, that makes sense when you think of the context of the whole world, the whole Western world, at least in the 30s and 40s. It was like that was when big government and stuff was really having its kind of heyday.
Yeah, Great Depression, 1929, and then all these governments are reeling all over the planet. Like, how do we come back from this banker incept? Like, what did the bankers cause that? I don't really know, but I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if the same guys that built the Federal Reserve, that tried to overthrow FDR in 1933 with the business plot that made the bankers trust in 1903, like these bankers, J.P. Morgan, Rockefeller, Paul Warburg, all these dudes, if they were involved with causing the Great Depression in order to buy the country up right after that. Well, and maybe they wanted it to be fascism, but FDR was like, no, it's going to be socialist.
Those are the conspiracy theories.
That wouldn't surprise me at all, because it was like fascism or socialism or die. It was one or the other. Like, you either want massive central corporate co-op, or you want, I don't know what else the other option is. Socialism,
they're the same.
Social systems, but without the
authoritarianism,
like less corporations,
centralized control. I these arguments about left and right and communist and fascist don't matter all that much. It's authoritarian versus libertarian for the most part. It's centralized versus decentralized, and so whatever they claim the far right to be is meaningless, because it doesn't actually describe what their concern is. Their concern is other, and then when we say far left, it doesn't actually describe, for the most part, our concerns, because the concern is centralization of power among anybody. It could be corporations, it could be government officials. Well, there you go. I guess I just
you solved it. Thank you. Yeah, you got the 100.
Yep.
Yeah, man, centralization's no joke. I mean, it is. You can see the power of it in mass mobilization appeal, but then you look at Kim Jong-un sitting all alone in his palace with all the authority in the world, and the women aren't having sex.
Well, not in the world, just in North
his
Korea.
country. Can't make those girls get pregnant.
Well, no, it's actually simple. It's because they want to be with him.
Oh, maybe.
That's right. They're all saving themselves, hoping that one day, honestly, that could be a component, especially of centralized dictatorships with a cult of personality. There could be a lot of women hoping that they get chosen, so they want to be pure, and that results in a trend in their culture.
There's also the possibility, I mean, allegedly, if I understand correctly, there's a lot of starvation going on in North Korea, and if you can't keep yourself alive because you can't get enough food, it's probably hard to get pregnant too.
Yeah, if anyone that has a girlfriend or a wife would know that if she's hungry, that's about where it ends right there.
I mean,
get her some food.
If she's hungry, you're not getting laid.
Yeah,
that's true. But I was more thinking about the biological process of actually building the human being inside the womb.
Starts there.
But Snickers, because she ain't the same when she's hungry. You ain't getting none.
You want yourself. Yeah, but I don't know. Going back to the military.com stuff with the claims about, I mean, it's a sensationalist headline. Suspected of advocating overthrow of U.S. government probably is some dude on his computer being like, man, this administration sucks. Somebody should remove Joe Biden.
Whatever it is, it's just about, we're going into an election year. There's less than a year until the election, and the government wants the media being in my opinion, an arm of the government. They want people to be afraid of Donald Trump, the way they were. Have you seen those videos where it's like Joe Scarborough? Yeah. Like, Trump's going to make Rachel Maddow. He's going to try and execute us. Yeah. Like, Rachel Maddow actually suggested Donald Trump will have them executed.
So that stuff freaks me out because they project.
Right.
Like, they project what they really want to do. And they're imprisoning us.
You are 100% accurate.
It's freaky. It freaks me out when they start talking like that and accusing him of it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Well, what is that the new poll? Do you think with Democrats win in 2024, they'll start executing their political opponents?
I mean, look, there are definitely people on both sides that are at that point where they're like, look, it's just time to start cutting people up. I'm sure
That's scary.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think there's always people like that, but
Yeah, but like the question is, if they are projecting and saying that Donald Trump wants to execute them, is that a projection of them suggesting
We
they
have to
would-
do it, otherwise they'll do it to us. I mean, that's,
Well, right,
that's where
because
that stuff leads.
You get these videos because we talked about like Pearl Davis and the Manosphere stuff. You have all these guys being like, nope, every man in the world would cheat on their wives, and it's like you're just saying you would. Like,
Yeah.
you're saying you would. You're saying in your mind, if you experience this, you would cheat on your wife. Not everyone is like you. So when they scream, Donald Trump is going to do this stuff to us, what they're really saying is, we'd do it if we had the power, and if they get the power, they'll do it to us, because they view that as the path forward.
I strongly agree with that sentiment. People tend to believe other people are going to do what they would do given the circumstances.
Why do they think this about Donald Trump? Is it because he said he wants revenge?
No, it's
He used
because
the word?
it's projection.
Did he give a hint?
I don't
of,
think
like,
Trump said revenge. He said retribution, right?
retribution?
Yeah. So the issue is, the reason why there are these guys that are advocating this idea where if every guy was given the opportunity to cheat on their wife, they would.
Yeah, I saw that one. Push the button
It's
and no
in
one
their
would know.
mind. In their mind, they can't see a circumstance in which they personally would feel differently. They can't empathize or comprehend another person might be like, no, I would not do that. And it's so shocking. The feeling in them is so strong, the desire to cheat on their wives, that they can't imagine any other man could resist that urge to cheat on their wives, which is it's insane. Because not only are you talking about a guy not being able to control whether how horny he is to not cheat on his wife, but that no guy has the integrity, honor, or force of will.
I think part of that with the whole like people that are just like, oh, they would, it's because they've never had the opportunity to. Like if you're a guy that's like in a situation where you get one girl and that's like you landed her and you don't get second looks very much and you're not particularly
They're also saying they never found the one.
You're just like, oh yeah, I would totally, because well, that's like I would never have the opportunity, outside of this one particular situation that I have. And if I was presented with the opportunity, it would be it's such a rare thing. I don't feel like I could control myself and say no. If you have options, you're kind of like, I don't want to mess up the good thing.
Well,
that I got.
it's also suggesting that these guys who are saying this never met someone they truly loved.
Maybe.
And so they're just like, these people don't matter that much to me. I would, of course, break my word. But I'm not trying to get into that conversation. My point is, this feeling within people, they cannot imagine thoughts outside of their perspective. So when Rachel Maddow says Trump will arrest and execute us, in her mind, she's thinking about how she would feel with that power. And in her mind, she would arrest and execute Donald Trump. It is projection, something they believe humans are capable because they're capable of it.
When I'm trying to empathize with someone that thinks differently than me, first thing I do is I visualize them with a blank slate, not literally a blank slate, but like there is no emotions. Before I try and visualize what they're feeling, I have to let go of what I'm feeling. That's the first step. If you just try and feel what they're feeling, your emotions are already present. So you have to blank it. You have to get rid of it. And then you can kind of start to think it could be anything what they're going through.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.